I wanted the belt. Hey, Tom Aspinall, I told you, I go for you, you know? You see me today, what me do? I want to break your head like that, like what me do today.
Congratulations on another win. Your winner, ladies and gentlemen, Waldo Cortes-Acosta.
Waldo Cortes-Acosta just dropped a massive bombshell on UFC heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall, and the MMA world is absolutely buzzing. Cortes-Acosta's incredible victory over Aspinall's training partner Ante Delija, and why this Dominican fighter is calling out the champ in the most controversial way possible.
Yeah, no, of course.
Cortes-Acosta, big right hand.
To understand why this call-out is so significant, we need to go back to UFC Vegas 110 on November 2nd. This was the night that changed everything for Waldo Salsa Boy Cortes-Acosta. Cortes-Acosta was facing Ante Delija, a Croatian heavyweight who happens to be Tom Aspinall's training partner. Now, here's where things get wild. During the first round, Delija landed a series of punches on Cortes-Acosta that went unanswered, and the referee initially stopped the fight. But wait, the replay revealed something crucial. Cortes-Acosta had been poked in the eye by Delija. The fight was restarted, giving Waldo time to recover. And here's what makes this story incredible. Despite his vision getting progressively worse, Cortes-Acosta came back and knocked out Delija in the first round, earning himself a Performance of the Night bonus. In the post-fight press conference, Cortes-Acosta revealed just how bad the eye injury was. He said, and I quote, "The eye was getting worse and worse. The emotions, the hunger, it pushed me on to still continue fighting. I never feel like I'll stop the fight for a poke in the eye."
But I never feel like stop the fight for the poke of the eye. The eye is getting worse and worse. The happening is the emotionated, my hungry, it pushed me up still continue fight.
Now, let's talk about why this matters in relation to Tom Aspinall. Just a month earlier at UFC 321 in October, Aspinall was fighting Cyril Gane. During the first round, Gane accidentally poked Aspinall in both eyes. The fight was stopped, and Aspinall was unable to continue, resulting in a no contest.
Looks like an eye poke there is gone, had the fingers open. Give me a claw. Yeah, sort of dug in there.
Last one.
You give it just a moment. You tell me if you can see. If not, then we'll stop this. Tell me. Why am I eyeball? Hey Tom. How are we? Right now. Can see you. Okay.
Jason knows I was going to play this fight. Yeah. About as anticlimactic as it gets.
No contest. Unintentional foul. No contest.
This decision immediately sparked massive debate in the MMA community. Some fans questioned whether Aspinall quit too easily. Others defended him, saying the injury was legitimate and continuing would have been dangerous. The controversy hasn't died down since, so picture this. Waldo Cortes-Acosta just fought through an eye poke against Tom Aspinall's own training partner, continued despite losing vision, and knocked him out. Meanwhile, Aspinall couldn't continue after his eye poke. Do you see where this is going?
And we saw it with Neil Magny and Jake Matthews in Perth. Mark Ratner joins us. Mark, what is going on right now?
It's an inadvertent eye poke.
Immediately after defeating Delija, Cortes-Acosta didn't waste a single second. He called out the heavyweight champion in the most direct way possible, essentially suggesting that Aspinall's eye poke was exaggerated while his own injury was real but manageable. But the story doesn't end there. Just 3 weeks later, Cortes-Acosta pulled off one of the most insane feats in recent UFC history. He accepted a fight at UFC Qatar on just 3 days' notice, replacing Sergey Spivak against Shamil Gaziev. Let me paint this picture for you. Waldo took an 18-hour flight across the globe to Qatar.
Okay, let's take a look. Oh. Yeah. Ooh.
Hey, yo!
12 pounds in a single day, weighed in at 265 pounds just moments after landing, and then stepped into the octagon against a dangerous opponent. This is his 5th fight of 2025. And what happened? Cortes-Acosta knocked out Gaziev in just 82 seconds of the first round. It was absolutely brutal, and it solidified Salsa Boy as one of the toughest fighters in the heavyweight division.
Right? Here's the exchange up against the fence. Misses that left hook. Almost, it was a jab basically from Cortes-Acosta. Had Gaziev all sorts of hurt. Looking for the ground and pound. Ultimately, Gaziev gets back up to his feet. And let's see here. Big straight right. Oh, right over the top. Not quite an overhand, but leans off to the left, gets his head off the center line, and crushes this straight right. Bang! Right on the jaw of Gaziev.
Here's where it gets even more interesting. During the post-fight celebration, Cortes-Acosta wore an eye patch over the same eye that had been injured weeks earlier. This wasn't just a medical necessity. It was a direct message to Tom Aspinall. Remember, John Jones had mocked Aspinall by adding an eye patch to his social media avatar after UFC 321. Waldo was clearly joining in on the trolling.
Oh, we got a monster vehicle. You got big sexy. You got table seats in. Oh, man. Put me on the spot. I got big A's, dog. Ain't cool. We're going to make a minute. There it is. Platinum Mike Perry. Whoa. What's up, bro? Whoa. We got a horse. But I can't see you median high. We got a coach. Greatest of all time.
So why is Waldo Cortes-Acosta so focused on Tom Aspinall? He actually gave 3 specific reasons in his interviews, and they're pretty compelling. First, and most obvious, Tom Aspinall is the UFC heavyweight champion. Cortes-Acosta wants that belt, plain and simple. He earned his shot with an incredible 4-1 record in 2025 alone, including multiple knockout victories. Second, and this is the controversial part, Cortes-Acosta believes Aspinall quit because of the eye poke at UFC 321. In his words, it's because of him being a champion, and he quit because of a poke in the eye. Waldo sees this as a weakness, especially since he himself continued fighting after being poked by Delija. Third, Cortes-Acosta knocked out Ante Delija, who Aspinall speaks very highly of as one of his best training partners. Waldo's logic is simple. If he can knock out Aspinall's training partner in the first round, what would happen if they actually fought? He said it himself. I do him like knock him out in the first round. What would happen if me and Tom Aspinall fight?
Were you just calling them out as you felt like you wanted to get that shot, or were you calling them out because you were able to continue from the eye poke?
Yeah, it's like that. It's for the hang to be a champion, and the hang quick because the poke the eye too, and the third too because the hang is a training partner, and I do it when hang like a knock him out in the first round. Why is it happening that me and Tom Aspinall fight? Because he say Tom Aspinall, this is the one that does the best training partner. Hang can have it. What happened? Tom Aspinall fighting with Waldo Cortes.
During his UFC Qatar post-fight interview, Cortes-Acosta looked directly at the camera and said, "Hey Tom Aspinall, I told you I'm going for you. You see what I do? I want to break your head like that. Like what me doing today?"
I wanted the bell. Hey, Tom Aspinall, I told you, I go for you, you know? You see me today, what me do? I want to break your head like that, like what me doing today.
Congratulations on another win. Your winner, ladies and gentlemen, Waldo Cortes-Acosta.
So where does this leave Waldo Cortes-Acosta? Right now, he's not even ranked in the heavyweight top 15, which makes this call-out even bolder. But his recent performances, especially that UFC Qatar knockout on 3 days' notice, have absolutely put him on the map. And here's something wild. Cortes-Acosta isn't done. He's calling for another fight in December, which would be his 6th fight of the year. At the post-fight interview, he said, "I want to finish this year for one more fight. I want to fight next month, December 13th. This man is absolutely relentless."
I want to finish this year for one more fight. This is too quick. I want to fight next month if the guy can permit it, December 13th.
Now, realistically, Tom Aspinall is expected to run back his fight with Cyril Gane, likely in January 2025. That's the fight everyone wants to see finished properly without the eye poke controversy. After that, though, the heavyweight division needs a clear #1 contender. Could Waldo Cortes-Acosta be that contender? If he keeps up this insane activity level and continues scoring knockout victories, it's hard to ignore him. He defeated Aspinall's training partner, fought through the same type of injury that stopped Aspinall, and showed incredible toughness by taking fights on short notice against dangerous opponents.
Yeah, no, of course.
Cortes-Acosta, big right hand.
I feel as Tom's a great athlete, but I do feel like he's a one-trick pony.
When you look at people talking shit online, you know, he's ducking this guy or he's dodging this guy, they haven't seen the work that you've done in the past and how dominant you've been. We know you're not ducking this guy. I mean, talk to me about what you saw in his fight with Gane. I mean, because Gane looked like he was controlling the fight.
With Cyril Gane?
Yeah.
I believe that his wrestling and jiu-jitsu is incredibly overrated. He has a beautiful 1-2. I got to learn a lot about his patterns in his last fight. Beautiful 1-2. That's really about it. He couldn't touch Cyril Gane at all. That's the way I felt. I felt like Gane was just getting warmed up. Gane's hands was down. He's shaking his shoulders, bouncing around.
He was touching him.
That jab.
He busted him open. I think Tom was looking for a way out, and he took it. He needs to change his game plan.
When Tom gets hurt, he's like immediately incapacitated.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you poke my eye, and then he's like immediately. There's no like
trying. He didn't try.
Trying. Same thing with Curtis Blaze. When he hurt his knee, there was no limping. There was no trying to get up. It was just like immediately.
Yep.
Burn my village. I can't go on. Immediately quit.
All right, so John Jones is back at it. He is calling Tom Aspinall overrated, calling him a quitter, saying that he is very, very simple. He's basic. The man's a quitter. Look at Cyril Gane, right? He was just getting comfortable.
Tom's a great athlete, but I do feel like he's a one-trick pony. I believe that his wrestling and jiu-jitsu is incredibly overrated.
We all know why he's saying this. Obviously, UFC 321, Tom Aspinall got poked in the eye. We've been over this many, many times, so I won't repeat it. Incidentally, Cyril Gane is back in the gym. He's training again. He's hitting the pads. He's working. So does that mean that we might have news of a rematch pretty soon between Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane? I, for one, certainly hope so.
A few moments later.
He's at home. He's recovering. And as soon as he's able to fight again, we'll book the rematch.
John Jones just dropped the most brutal bombshell on Tom Aspinall that may just end his career. The former two-division champion is not holding back anymore, folks. Jones just called Aspinall an average fighter who quit after one little eye poke.
Tom Aspinall's title fight against Cyril Gane ended with a bit of a letdown after being ruled a no contest when Aspinall was unable to continue after what is certainly one of the worst-looking, not single, but double eye pokes I've seen in the sport.
The best part about fouling, right, is that it works. So the best thing you can do is like keep your head in your game, and I'll do everything I can to manage it.
All that training for that? Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Gonna be okay, mate.
What is he doing?
The left one was really deep. The left one was really deep.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
You got one for it.
Yeah,
twice before you got one for it.
Mike Bisping, he lost his eye. It's just a horrendous thing to think as a parent, really. And I know what it's like these days with people saying what they want, but if it's just your son and they could lose an eye and their health and they've got children to look after.
And that's not even half of it. Jones is trolling Aspinall like never before. We're talking horses with eye patches, duck profile pictures, and some of the most savage takedowns we've ever seen in MMA trash talk history. All right, let's get straight into what John Jones just said, because this is brutal. On the No Scripts podcast, Jones didn't just criticize Tom Aspinall, he absolutely dismantled him. And I'm talking about career-threatening allegations here.
I feel as Tom's a great athlete, but I do feel like he's a one-trick pony.
Talk to me about what you saw in his fight with Gane. I mean, because Gane looked like he was controlling the fight.
With Cyril Gane?
Yeah.
I believe that his wrestling and jiu-jitsu is incredibly overrated. He has a beautiful 1-2. I got to learn a lot about his patterns in his last fight. Beautiful 1-2. That's really about it. He couldn't touch Cyril Gane at all. That's the way I felt. I felt like Gane was just getting warmed up. Gane's hands was down. He's shaking his shoulders, bouncing around.
He was touching him.
That jab.
He busted him open. I think Tom was looking for a way out, and he took it. He needs to change his game plan.
Jones's main claim, that Aspinall immediately quits when things get tough. Here's exactly what he said. When Tom gets hurt, he's immediately incapacitated. Immediately. It's like you poke my eye. There was no like trying to blink it out. I would have been the silliest looking cat on national TV trying to continue.
He couldn't touch Cyril Gane at all. That's the way I felt. I felt like Gane was just getting warmed up. Gane's hands was down. He's shaking his shoulders, bouncing around.
He was touching him. He was touching him.
That jab,
he was so
he busted him open.
He was so comfortable.
I think Tom was looking for a way out, and he took it. He needs to change his game plan.
Man, Tom, when Tom gets hurt, it's like he's like immediately incapacitated.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately.
He shut down.
It's like you poke my eye and then he's like immediately. There's no like.
He never tried to look. It was rag on the eye immediately.
Dude, I would have been the silliest looking cat on national TV just
trying. He didn't try.
Trying.
He didn't try.
Same thing with Curtis Blaze. When he hurt his knee, there was no limping. There was no trying to get up. It was just like immediately.
Yep.
burn my village. I can't go on.
He doesn't have the dog in him. Yeah, that kill or be killed.
Immediately quits.
Yeah.
When he got tapped out with an ankle lock, there was no trying to fight his hands. There were no trying to. He immediately quit.
But Jones didn't stop there. He brought up multiple examples to back up his claim. First, the Curtis Blades fight from 2022, where Aspinall tore his ACL just 15 seconds in. Jones said there was no limping, no trying to get up, just immediate surrender.
No, looking for Megan. It's paying off now. Massive shots, hammer fist, straight hand. As you said, he's waiting for the opportunity. It was the up kick came, and now Austin looking for the leg. Oh, big heel hook attack from him. He's done it. Austin has done it. What a finish. Austin has done it.
Then he went even further back to Aspinall's first professional loss in 2015 when he tapped to an ankle lock. Jones claimed there was no trying to fight the hands, no resistance, just an immediate tap. Jones's conclusion, he immediately quits. Immediately.
When Tom gets hurt, he's like immediately incapacitated.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he poked my eye and then he's like immediately, there's no like
trying. He didn't try.
Trying. Same thing with Curtis Blades. When he hurt his knee, there was no limping. There was no trying to get up. It was just like immediately.
Yep.
Burn my village. I can't go on. Immediately quit.
This is massive because Jones is essentially questioning Aspinall's heart, his toughness, his warrior spirit, everything that defines a champion in this sport. But Jones wasn't done destroying Aspinall's reputation. He then moved on to break down his actual fighting skills, and this might be even more devastating. Jones called Aspinall a one-trick pony and said his wrestling and jiu-jitsu are incredibly overrated.
What did you think of the last UFC main event?
I think it's two quick guys. I think it's two guys that are really great. Tom Aspinall is a fast fighter. He's got a good 1-2. He's got a good 3-2, as you could tell. Just didn't really mix it up against Cyril. When I watched Cyril against John, John went out there and put pressure on him, made him get on his heels. I think there's a lot of pop in Cyril Gane's step, and I think he was confident going into this match. And he looked great. He looked great. The jab was flowing.
I think Cyril Gane definitely won that round.
It was a fight. Tom looked like he was fading real early in.
The spins, I didn't like those spins.
A lot of people talk about Tom Aspinall like, oh, John Jones is afraid of this guy. And I'll tell you right now, man, I don't think John Jones is afraid of anybody.
Did you see how he changed his picture? The duck with
the
patch?
Yeah, with the eye patch.
He put it over the left
He's the
eye.
best troll. He's the best troll, man, I swear.
It's fun to be close to someone that has that power to do so. But cool main event. The way it ended, sad. But shit happens. What can you say? I mean, you would hope for the big punch. You would hope for the decision. But, man, I poke maybe the next best thing for Tom. I'm not sure.
Let that sink in for a second. The greatest fighter of all time just said the current heavyweight champion's grappling skills are overrated. Here's Jones's technical breakdown of what he saw against Cyril Gane. He has a beautiful 1-2 combination. I got to learn a lot about his patterns in his last fight. That's really about it. That's the one thing that he's setting up real nice.
I feel as Tom's a great athlete, but I do feel like he's a one-trick pony. I believe that his wrestling and jiu-jitsu is incredibly overrated. He has a beautiful 1-2,
mm-hmm.
And then I got to learn a lot about his patterns in his last fight. Beautiful 1-2. That's really about it. That's the one thing that he's setting up real nice. He couldn't touch Cyril Gane at all. That's the way I felt. I felt like Gane was just getting warmed up. Gane's hands was down. He was shaking his shoulders, bouncing around.
He was touching him. He was touching him.
That jab too was money.
He busted him open.
So according to Jones, Aspinall's entire game is just one combination. That's it. Jones went on to say that Aspinall couldn't touch Cyril Gane at all, and that Gane was just getting warmed up before the eye poke ended things. Now, here's the thing. The statistics actually showed Gane slightly outstriking Aspinall 30-27 before the stoppage. Gane also stuffed Aspinall's only takedown attempt, so Jones might have a point here.
I feel as Tom's a great athlete, but I do feel like he's a one-trick pony.
Talk to me about what you saw in his fight with Gane. I mean, because Gane looked like he was controlling the fight.
With Cyril Gane?
Yeah.
I believe that his wrestling and jiu-jitsu is incredibly overrated. He has a beautiful 1-2. I got to learn a lot about his patterns in his last fight. Beautiful 1-2. That's really about it. He couldn't touch Cyril Gane at all. That's the way I felt. I felt like Gane was just getting warmed up. Gane's hands was down. He was shaking his shoulders, bouncing around.
He was touching him.
That jab
He busted him open. I think Tom was looking for a way out, and he took it. He needs to change his game plan.
This is a complete dismissal of Aspinall as a well-rounded fighter. Jones is basically saying, you've got one good combo, average grappling, and no heart. Brutal. Now, if those statements weren't savage enough, let's talk about how Jones has been trolling Aspinall in the most hilarious and disrespectful ways possible. First, after the UFC 321 eye poke incident, Jones changed his Twitter profile picture to a duck wearing an eye patch. The duck reference is particularly cutting because Jones has been called a duck for allegedly avoiding the Aspinall fight. So he's turning it right back around on Tom. But it gets better, or worse, depending on whose side you're on.
John rides into this event on a white horse. The white horse has an eye patch. I'm actually rather proud of John Jones. This was awesome. So John is taking this shot at Aspinall. It would seem as though he wants to fight Aspinall. The reason that is so poetically beautiful is John is working towards getting a fight with Aspinall, the very guy who they've been trying to get him to fight all along. I thought the direction that we were going was John Jones versus Alex Pereira. And then I saw John Jones ride a white horse into an event with an eye patch. It would be an interesting question to ask Tom. Hey Tom, would you rather fight Ciryl Gane in a rematch, or would you rather fight John Jones, who appears to be ready and wanting that fight?
Does Tom want to go into the boxing world and maybe fight a Tyson Fury, maybe fight a Deontay Wilder?
I don't know if he does, but I think if you get into that top percentage of the sport, the UFC do not pay anywhere near as much as the boxing does. And I know, being around Tom every day, that when he spars good boxers, he spars good. So I think he'd do really well against a real high-class boxer.
With Zuffa Boxing under Dana White's leadership, do you think there could be an eventual crossover where you get a massive super fight that could be on a Netflix?
It doesn't depend on me, that depends on Dana White, but I think Tom has the ability, because I've seen him box at the highest level against some real good guys, that he could be at that level.
Tom Aspinall and his father, Ante Aspinall, have just dropped a massive bombshell message to Dana White. The Aspinall family is seriously considering leaving the UFC for boxing after a devastating eye poke incident at UFC 321 left Tom potentially blind in one eye, and Dana White has responded on Twitter.
Only Tom knows what happened. Could he see? Couldn't he see? Could he continue? I can't make people fight if they feel they've been injured. After the Jones fight, a lot of people wrote Ciryl Gane off. He looked damn good tonight. I mean, he had Tom bloodied up, and Tom didn't want to continue in the fight. The rematch is very interesting.
Tom Aspinall, the UFC heavyweight champion, suffered repeated eye pokes from Ciryl Gane that have left him unable to see. His father is furious. The family is talking about boxing, and the entire MMA world is asking, is this the moment that changes everything? Stay with us as we break down the biggest controversy in UFC right now. Let's get straight to what everyone's talking about. The Aspinall family is seriously considering leaving the UFC for boxing. In an exclusive interview, Ante Aspinall, Tom's father and head coach, didn't hold back when addressing the repeated questions about Tom potentially switching to boxing, and his answer was shocking. Ante stated, "People who are around me all the time know that boxers are around me all the time. It's just because of the money. If your son was a fighter, would you want him to fight for a ton of money or not a ton of money? It's a no-brainer."
People who are around me all the time know that. Boxers are around me all the time. It's just because of the money. And it's the back to, if your son was a fighter, would you sooner fight for a ton of money or not a ton of money? It's a no-brainer, but people still have.
But here's what makes this different. This isn't just about money. This is about safety and respect. Ante is saying that boxing offers both significantly more money and significantly more safety. Because you can't extend your fingers in boxing gloves. You can't poke someone in the eye 5 times in one round. And here's the stat that will blow your mind. Do you know how many fighters have been disqualified for eye pokes in UFC history? 0. Not a single one. Never happened. Eye pokes are essentially a free foul in the UFC. Ante Aspinall put it bluntly. The guy who fouled him, no consequence to him. And now there's a consequence to Tom, and hopefully it'll be all right. But it might not be.
The guy who fouled him, no consequence to him. And now there's a consequence to Tom. And hopefully it'll be all right, but it might not be.
Think about that. Tom Aspinall could lose his vision permanently, and Ciryl Gane faces 0 punishment. No points deducted, no disqualification, nothing. So how has UFC President Dana White responded to this bombshell? According to Ante Aspinall's interview, Dana White addressed the eye poke situation by asking, "What does it take to make an eye poke intentional? And is there even a way you could ever prove that?" But here's where it gets heated. Andy revealed that Dana's response was essentially, he doesn't give a fuck about determining whether eye pokes are intentional.
What does it take to make an eye poke intentional, and is there even a way you could ever prove that?
Who the knows? Who gives a
Now, Dana White has since taken to Twitter to address the controversy and clarify the UFC's stance on fighter safety. But the damage appears to be done. The Aspinall family feels abandoned by the organization they've dedicated years to. Andy's response to all the commentary and Dana's position, quote, "Who the funcha knows? Who gives a fuchets? My thing is, I go to the gym every day for 2 or 3 hours in the morning and coach fighters. The other stuff around it is just noise."
And then I teach jiu-jitsu at night, and I love the sport. And then I go to the fights with Tom, and the process is great, and he has a fight, and that's the sport, and that's how he gets paid, and that's his job. And then after the fight, it goes down a bit, we have a few weeks off, and then we're back in the gym again and doing the same again, and I like that. And that's my thing that I've done with my son since he was 7 or 8 years old, and I enjoy it. The other stuff around it is just noise.
But this isn't just noise. This is about Tom's career. This is about his eyesight. This is about whether he can see his 3 kids grow up. Now let's break down what actually happened at UFC 321 that's caused this massive controversy. October 25th, 2025. UFC 321 in Abu Dhabi. Tom Aspinall was making his first defense of the undisputed UFC heavyweight title against Cyril Gane. This was a fight 15 months in the making after John Jones retired, and Tom was elevated to undisputed champion.
Cyril Gane in black. Tom
Cyril Gane. Moving into Aspinall. Oh, nice.
Connect. Aspinall goes hot.
And Cyril Gane was ranked higher than Tom.
Quick jab from Gane.
Don't love the spinning.
Leaky here early.
He's even scared. The world.
Look like an eye poke there is Gane.
But the fight turned into a nightmare. According to video analysis that Ante Aspinall shared, there were 5 separate eye pokes in the first round alone. Video breakdown showed 10 extended fingers and 4 direct eye pokes total from Cyril Gane. Tom was repeatedly telling his corner, "I can't see. I can't see." And here's what makes this even more disturbing. This wasn't just the first round. Andy revealed that Cyril had already poked Tom in the eye earlier in the fight when Tom went for a takedown.
Guys, I just got fucking poked knuckle deep in the eyeball. Why are you booing? I can't see. This is bullshit. The fight was just getting going. Complete bullshit. I'm pissed off.
Ante Aspinall reviewed the footage with doctors and described the pattern. Every time his hand comes out, it does this, with extended fingers pointed forward. You should never punch like this. When your hand goes out to hit somebody, your hand should never go out like this. The fight was eventually ruled a no contest because Tom literally couldn't continue. He couldn't see. And as Andy powerfully stated, if you can't see, you can't fight. If you can't see, you're going to get hurt.
It was really bad how it looks. And he said, you can't train your eyeball to be stronger. It is what it is. You've protection here and here, but he obviously got no protection because the fingers were straight in. The fight should have been stopped. He couldn't see. It was a foul. He couldn't see. Then you can't fight. You know, if he'd have got knocked out with a head kick next, then it would have been worse. I don't know. And then he said, sometimes when your eyes here like that, it can become displaced and stay there. And they did a few tests on that, and they said it doesn't seem like that. And his vision on the eye that's the best eye, his eye wasn't following properly, so the muscles weren't working strong enough to go this way. This one just wasn't working that good at all. So we've got to have additional tests further this week, and Moyes is sorting the tests out for us, and he's got to have a CT scan.
The medical situation is absolutely terrifying, and this is where you understand why the Aspinall family is considering leaving the UFC. The doctors explained what happens during a direct eye poke. Your eye socket is round, your eyeball is round, and when fingers go straight in, the eyeball compresses like a ball being flattened on the floor. When it springs back, it can cause catastrophic internal damage. And here's the truly frightening part. The doctor told them he's seen people lose their eyes completely from pokes like this. Some people go permanently blind.
He already got one twice, at least once, for poking. Keep his fingers closed, the ref said. And he's nearly poked me in the eye before. Feels like the back of my eyeballs hurt.
Just sting you.
It's not even stinging now, it's painful. It's like, it feels like my eye, someone's touched the back of my eyeball.
Days after the fight, Tom still couldn't see out of his right eye. They're waiting to see if time will heal it, but there are no guarantees. Ante Aspinall, clearly emotional, said, "It's terrifying, really. Everything's about his health. It's not about fighting, but it's a bad consequence if you lose your sight, especially by a foul."
Terrifying, really, isn't it?
For me, everything's about his health. It's not about fighting. That's just what he chose to do as a job. And one of the consequences, you can get hurt. But it's a bad consequence if you lose your sight. And especially by a foul.
This incident has exposed a serious safety crisis in the UFC that's been ignored for years. Ante Aspinall is calling for major changes. He pointed out that the old Pride FC gloves were designed differently, making it much harder to extend fingers. But the UFC hasn't adopted these safety measures. Why? Ante suggests it might be about money and entertainment value. More open-fingered gloves allow for more varied techniques, which some believe makes fights more exciting and marketable. But Ante asked the question that should haunt the UFC. What will it take to change these rules? Will it take somebody's eye being poked out and falling on the floor? If they care about people, they should do something.
What will it take to change those rules? Will it take somebody's eye being poked and falling on the floor? I don't know if that's a thing. I'm sure it's not, but what does it take?
Little gone in black. Tom Aspinall gone.
Moving into Aspinall.
Oh, nice. Aspinall goes hot.
Cyril Gane was ranked higher than Tom.
Quick jab from Gane.
I don't love the spinning.
Leaky here early.
Is he prepared? The world.
Look like an eye poke there has gone.
A lot of energy in this fight, so a little bit disappointed. This is the score.
Sir, you were fighting a wonderful.
Israel Adesanya and MMA pros drop a massive bombshell on Tom Aspinall ahead, 321 of Cyril Gane's scary looks. They said we're wearing about Tom. Some of the biggest names in the UFC, including former champion Israel Adesanya, are sending you a serious message. They believe Cyril Gane has what it takes to shock the world at UFC 321. This isn't just talk. These fighters are seeing something that could spell trouble for the interim heavyweight champion. Let's break down exactly what they're saying.
Anthony? No, I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed. I talked all day yesterday. Like, I just want to see Tom have to overcome some adversity. I want to see what he does when when his first plan of action doesn't work. What's he checked down to? Is he gonna wrestle? Can he compete with Cyril Gane on his feet for 25 minutes? And I don't get any of those answers, and just like everybody at home, I'm disappointed.
Being poked in the eye is illegal, Brendan, but to fight with one eye is very common. The opponent's trying to hit your eye. He's trying to bust up and make your nose bleed. So that part of it does have question for guys like Anthony and I. We're trying to be polite. We're trying to show grace. But in all fairness, if you're the heavyweight champion of the world, you got to fight with one eye at times.
October 25th, 2025, Etihad Arena, Abu Dhabi. 13,220 fans packed in. Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane for the undisputed UFC heavyweight championship. This was Tom's moment, his first defense as the full champion after John Jones retired.
I'm seeing it all online. Tom quit, Tom quit, Tom quit. It got dicey out there for him and he quit. That's what the people are saying. Complete hogwash, complete nonsense. If you just watch it, you will see that those were two nasty, deep eye pokes. You could say that he lost that first round. I think he lost that first round. I think we all agree that he lost that first round.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you could. I mean, that is fair game. But to suggest that he quit, that he wanted a way out, that he looked for a way out because the going got tough is just something that I'm not going to subscribe to. You know John Jones is going to weigh in. This is the guy. This is the guy. For the record, John Jones was offered for the millionth time $30 million to fight this man, and he didn't. You can't claim after the fact, this is the guy, but you know he's going to spike the football. And there's a cruel irony involved in the fact that Tom doesn't fight John Jones, but still gets eye poked. But this is tough for him. This is the first time in his career where he's not going to be beloved by people because people are going to accuse him of being a quitter because they're going to say that the going got tough and he asked for a way out. I think that's absolute hogwash. He got poked in both eyes.
The fight starts, and honestly, it was fire. Both guys came to throw down. Gane was landing that jab, making Tom's nose bleed. Tom was pressing forward with power. Gane stuffed Tom's takedown attempt like it was nothing. We were watching a legitimate competitive fight between the two best heavyweights in the world. And then, disaster. 4 minutes and 35 seconds into round 1, Cyril Gane's fingers go straight into Tom Aspinall's eyes. And I'm not talking about a little poke. This was knuckle deep into both eyeballs. A double eye poke that left Tom unable to see.